Hey guys, this is the Villains Demand. I'm Evan the Great, and I'm here with JVD. And today we are doing an episode of Crossover Collision.
And today we're bringing you Mega City 1's top judge, the most badass person in 2000 AD, Judge Dredd, versus Marvel's top-notch assassin, formerly a Captain America Winter Soldier. Now here on Crossover Collision, if you haven't watched any of these, this is just not your standard. These guys fight each other.
Yeah.
Now, we do have that towards the end, but a lot of these comic battles really need battlegrounds. Because battlegrounds will decide a fight for most characters. Not just a typical open area, because obviously in a typical open area, sure, Superman's going to speed blitz the Hulk.
Yeah.
He's done. But not here. We have 6 battlegrounds. First, we start with city streets. Then we move to the city alleyways, city rooftops, into the sewers. And we take the fight to a jungle, and then we discuss the battle in an open area, which is where typically everybody is basically discussing a battle. Now, these battles have prep time, and less said. And if you would like to know anything about these characters, please watch our Behind the Mask episodes over them to understand their abilities, the standard equipment they usually carry that we discuss, and a lot of that will play a big factor in this, especially with Winter Soldier, due to the fact that he has your, real weaponry, as in guns, and how much ammo he carries, and how many grenades he's got. So, to start this off, first battle takes place in the city streets. We're talking basically an open city street, something where there's cars around, you might have some scaffolding, where there's a lot of foot traffic, a lot of car traffic, something like Times Square in New York City.
So like you said, the streets are basically a New York City streetscape. There's people running around. There's automobiles. There's a lot of shit going on. So that is where our first battle is going to take place, and you're putting these two together. How far you say that they?
100 foot.
100 foot. I forget that. So they're 100 foot apart.
Roughly the length of a basketball.
There you go. I figure in this experiment, it will be Dredd just riding along and hops off his motorcycle. It's not part of this.
Of course, you wanted to add that. You had to add that, didn't you?
100 feet away as he pursues through the streets and combats Winter Soldier. I think in a street atmosphere, this for starters, guys, I think this is a tough one for me because I like them both. But I think in a street atmosphere, you have basically the cop who patrols these streets and knows the environment, and he's ran and chased villains all over the place, inside, outside, around cars. But then you have the Winter Soldier who also knows how to use all that as cover, being a great sniper and being quick on his feet and having the arm, having the ranged weaponry, melee weaponry. I really believe that their toughness, their vulnerabilities is going to make this range fight not very effective for either one of them, because I think his arm and his quickness will block a lot of his shots and vice versa. And here's where it gets crazy. In a melee situation, I believe they're both highly skilled, but I believe you have an edge with the arm versus basically a peak human. He's kind of super strong.
Yeah, he's like a super soldier.
So I think that equals it out. So then it comes down to who's better trained. I believe that they're similar trained. I think that Winter Soldier EMT would come into effect. EMP, my bad. EMP will come into effect at this. But then again, will it? Because when you take a judge's gun, you can't use it. So will an EMP work on it?
That's the question that I was going to bring up, and I'm glad you did, because obviously it's electronic, because it operates on his voice command.
Yeah.
And which we talk about in our episode of Behind the Mask, just much like the lawgiver and lawmaker are both. They're electronic because they answer. So there's some type of communication there. That was one thing I was going to bring up, because if you play these characters based on how they are, like you said, Judge Dredd follows the law to a T. Most likely, he's going to be like, Rubber Ricochet, because he's not going to want to hurt anybody that might be running when this battle starts, which to me is a very... That's good for the Winter Soldier, because he's going to still take his shots.
Yeah.
He's not going to be non-lethal. So that right there, to me, will slow Dredd down.
Yeah.
Now, like we said, there's cars and whatnot. Once people start to clear out, then Dredd's going to bring the violence.
And he brings the violence.
Yes.
And that is where we get to the question about the EMP.
Yes, because eventually
Because
it's...
if he shuts down his gun with it, which I don't know if it would happen or not, for one.
I think it would.
Because you can't use it unless you're an officer. So I don't know if any device couldn't access it.
But if the EMP shuts it down,
Yeah.
which I think it would, because there has to be some type of electronic... Because here's the thing, we don't know if the lawgiver is... like your typical weapon.
Yeah.
Does it have bullets? Yes, but do we know that is everything like, okay, like I said, he goes rubber ricochet. And then what ammo will he get stuck on? Because I think that the gun would still fire like a normal gun.
Yeah.
There would be a hammer that hits the cylinder and shoots a bullet. Now it's the question of what ammo is he stuck on once the EMP comes out? Because I think the EMP blows the communication to the lawgiver, which I would think would get rid of the DNA reader on it too.
So you got a couple things going on there. He would, if the gun did go bad.
Now it's not like a big range EMP either. So I mean, he's got to get in close.
Yeah, he's got to get close. Therefore, when they're Judge Dredd does not hurry.
now, right here, I just want to throw this out there. As we're talking about this, does this kind of change things when we get into these other battlegrounds because of the EMP? Think about it.
Oh yeah,
as you get closer.
Yeah. So, what would he shoot first? He'd probably shoot rubber bullets, and then it would go into lethal bullets.
Well, I would assume he would start out with standard ammunition because that's what the judges do, and then he would call for it. The question is, does Bucky hear that through all the commotion?
Yeah.
Because eventually it's going to get quiet, and there's them. So say he goes high explosives, and he's blowing stuff, and then if he's changing it, can Bucky still hear that? To me, that is the deciding factor here in the city street, because it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah.
But if Bucky can get close enough for EMP to take that out.
My story is, okay, so when the people start running away, and you got this, and you're shooting all these different ammunitions, usually Bucky will fight from a range until he comes up. Well, during that range, once the people clear out, I think Dredd might go start shooting some high-powered ammunition his way, which at that point he would know that gun's got to go, but then he knows that once I do that, he's going to know my arm can do shit.
Yes.
And at that point, he will not... I don't think they're going to hold back at that point or not.
Will he? Because, remember, the arm has a hologram.
It does. I mean, well, he might see something shoot out of it or grab his gun or whatever, but he's so strong. I mean, and he's got other weapons on him. I think once they get into the melee atmosphere, you got a bionic arm, his bionic arm with super strength ability and training, hitting somebody who can do the same thing with his body. Mm-hmm. So, man, I've never said this on a crossover collision in my life. I think this is a draw inside of a city.
You think it's a draw?
I think they're 5-5 down the middle. And the reason I say that is because coming in here, I did not know actually how strong Judge Dredd was until you told me. And that tells me that his blows are going to be significant if they get into
they'll hurt
combat.
Him. But here's the thing.
In range combat, I think he'll shoot him up a little bit, which would slow him down a little bit, which I think would give will give Winter Soldier the victory on half of these battles, maybe more than half. It's a toss-up, man.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. Okay, so the EMP, he's going to have to get so close. Fight starts, he's on standard ammo, they're across from each other, people start running, he's going to, rubber ricochet. So, he's going to change the ammo to start shooting.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, does that lead Bucky to a false sense of security? Like, man, he's using rubber bullets.
It may. That's another big thing about this fight. The reason I call it a draw in a cityscape is you have all that going on, and it's like, is he underestimating him, or when does he know that this is a real threat, and vice versa? When does the Winter Soldier know this is a real threat? Is it when he starts switching his gun to different things, which I think would be when he knows this is a real threat?
Yeah.
Plus when he's shooting him and he continues to move forward like he does like a Terminator.
Yeah, because Judge Dredd goes forward. He's taking cover, he's going forward.
And he has healing ways that he carries with him, and different, like you said, respirators and healing bandages and things that he will just strap on behind the cover of a car, behind the cover of a building. Man, this could be a long fight. I think this might be a long fight. I mean,
I see it being that way. Now, here's the thing.
It is a shootout.
There's a shootout, And during the commotion, which I don't think Bucky would hear him call to his lawgiver to change ammunition. And so eventually Bucky's probably going to realize, I would think, that he would need cover. So he's going to start throwing gas grenades. And I think that's where both of them just start doing it. And I think that could be the mistake. Because then Dredd's going to go heat seeker. And the only problem I see with that is there would be so much heat in the city. He would have to really rely on his visor that we know of does not have any heat vision.
No, I don't think it does.
No, it does not have any infrared and whatnot.
But we don't. Well, the movie's really canon because we don't have comic books. I think he does in the movie, but
here's the thing though. Between heat seeker and you got high X. I mean, he's basically just chucking grenades everywhere.
I feel that he has the advantage until he gets that gun disabled. But then again, on the flip side, he don't have the advantage, which is he's getting shot because Winter Soldier's going to be shooting him, and his bullets will penetrate that armor.
Well, and it works both ways.
So they're going to be beating the hell out of each other with ranged weaponry, and one's going to be using a lot more cover than the other. I think Judge Dredd's going to be on the tack bone in this at the beginning of this.
Yeah, I think Bucky
has
to go on the defensive.
But I feel like he'll be on the defensive, and that will give him an advantage. But then it flips back. It's not an advantage because he can't get to that gun, and that gun's going to be doing all kinds of stuff when the crowd clears out.
And see, and that's my thing. Unless he can hear, which I think if they used gas to cover tracks, because things will die down, then he'll hear him because he's got a call to the gun.
I never thought about the gas. Bucky would have to roll away from the gas when he can just put his respirator on.
Yes, exactly. And then that's where Dredd is going to start coming in, and you got to think.
Maybe I shouldn't have made my 50-50 slot right now.
That's what I was trying to say to you, because then
we have moved to 4-6.
He's going to throw on a respirator.
Yeah.
Because if he starts going high X and just blowing cars up, and he's got Bucky on the run, and Bucky starts throwing gas, which to counteract it, sure, Dredd starts throwing stun grenades.
Yeah.
And so there's gas, it's going to choke him up. That's the first thing he's going to do. He's going to put this respirator on, and he's going to move in.
Yeah.
Which Bucky isn't known to have a respirator. He's got that thing on his face, that mask, but you've never really seen if it was a respirator or not. I don't know anything that is. But just to say that it is, that's when Judge Dredd's going to come after him. And even, like I said, if he gets close enough for the EMP, depending on what he's on, I think he's okay because then he goes with a scattergun.
Yeah.
He's got that shotgun.
He's got the big stick.
Yeah.
I just don't know the damage he would take getting there, but I think it would stop once the people cleared out. I'm starting to see this now. Once the people cleared out, it don't matter. He's going to be shooting all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
he is not going to care.
Winter Soldier's never seen nothing like this before. This is from the future, and the more I think about it, I keep sliding my opinion. I said it was a draw, but now that we're talking about the respirator, we're adding different things in, I'm like, man, actually, he has more on him that helps him in an everyday situation.
Yeah, and think about it. I mean, even if Bucky keeps retreating and wants to go sniper on him, Dredd, for one, just say he starts shooting out the lights, thinking he's going to dim everything. Judge Dredd has night vision. His helmet magnifies distance. Mm-hmm. So I mean that plays into like armor piercing and your heat seeking. But just say he goes incinerating high X, and Bucky is able to get the EMP off.
Yeah.
He still basically got a cannon in his hand. He's also got a shotgun, and I still think just the fact that he's just blowing flames everywhere, he's blowing stuff up, keeps Bucky on the run, and eventually will hurt Winter Soldier in the end. And to me, I think in this big of an open area, I think Judge Dredd has a huge advantage, and I think he wins it.
So I went from a draw to towards Dredd even more. See what happens when you communicate with your partners, people? You start seeing shit that you didn't really see it before. So in the beginning, it does sound like it's even until we go over everything.
And that's why here on Crossover Collision we do battlegrounds.
And the first battleground, both Dredd.
So we're going Dredd. All right. Next battleground. It's a completely new fight because these fights don't continue on here. It's a city alleyway. They're both caught in an alleyway. It's 100 feet. You know, most of your city alleyways are like 20 foot wide. So there's nothing but maybe some dumpster and some rats between them. Yeah. Who do you got?
Now, in this particular fight, before we went through the first one, I already knew the alleyway was going to Dredd, and now 100% Dredd kicks the crap out of the Winter Soldier. I think in the alleyway. Because the Winter Soldier has a lot of elements he can run and hide behind when he's not in the alleyway, and he can use range weaponry as he's coming up on him. He has none of that in the alleyway. He can hide behind a dumpster, which he's pretty strong with his arm, but I think Judge Dredd is just as strong to pick that thing up and throw it out of the way. I don't know, man. I think in an alleyway, limited space means the one's probably more agile, which is definitely Winter Soldier. But then again, one's reactionary time is insane with Dredd, and he is probably stronger with the full body, not just an arm.
Yeah.
I think he wins this a lot better than even in the first one.
See, this is where I think that Winter Soldier has a bigger advantage. I think it's more towards a draw because it's.
But
guns.
he does have.
He's got his own. Well, he's got a shield. So just say Dredd's got standard ammo.
And I'm thinking the knife too. That forget in a closed up surface, he's real quick. But
100 foot in an alley, there's not a lot between you. So. Okay, let's just say they start shooting and throwing gas.
Yeah.
Because gas really gives Dredd an advantage, if you ask me. Because he can go high X.
And every one of these fights, they don't know the previous fight.
No.
At least we say it.
No, and they don't.
So he's going to do it again, and he's going to get fucked by this gas.
But here's the thing. Okay, to me, Dredd starts shooting.
Yeah.
And Bucky would be more of the shooting on the run. Because he's going to try to find cover. He's an assassin.
Yeah.
And I think, to me, that kind of hurts Dredd in the beginning. Because, okay, just say they start shooting at each other.
Yeah.
Bucky could hunker down and use his arm to cover his midsection.
Yeah, he could.
To help him some. And so the arm is going to cover, and he's going to shoot. Now, like we said, Judge Dredd, the only thing that's not bulletproof on him is his helmet. His helmet's the only thing bulletproof.
Yeah.
So he's going to be taking a lot of damage. I think that's a huge advantage for the Winter Soldier. Like we said, his arm is basically just like Captain America's shield. So I think that's a huge advantage.
Just how much shooting is he going to be able to do with Judge launching those things back?
Well, think about it. At first, it's just bullets.
Yeah.
So, and then eventually, when I think Dredd has to stop to communicate to the lawgiver to say high X or not. Bucky's not going to stop shooting him.
Yeah.
I mean, he might have to reload, but to me, I think Bucky takes it in the alley just for that because he literally has something to block bullets with.
Yeah, I'm thinking block bullets. I see your way. And then I see my way where the alley's a lot more condensed, and I think Dredd can get to him faster.
Okay, so we're torn on this one. Where I'm saying Winter Soldier, and you're still sticking with Judge Dredd.
Yep, on that one.
Cool. All right, this one's going to be interesting. The city rooftops.
Wow.
On top of a building, so many stories up. None of them have the capability of flying.
No.
None of them have a capability of leaping.
No.
I think basically you're looking at like a 25, 30-foot story building. None of them probably will survive the fall.
Well, Dredd can fall off buildings and get up.
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever seen Dredd fall this far.
Yeah.
Neither have I seen the Winter Soldier.
And
the thing is, on a rooftop, you know, you've got ventilation systems, air conditioning systems, water tanks at sometimes. So there's a lot of stuff to take cover here. And I think that's most, to me, like the alley where Dredd is going to shoot and Bucky will shoot and take cover. And that's going to become a cat and mouse game.
Yep. I guess, on this one, man, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay, on top of the roof, I feel like it's a smaller version of the street, but it's harder for probably Dredd to get to him on a roof, I think, because I think he knows he probably wants to stay away from falling off the roof.
Yeah.
And if he fell off the roof, of course, he would fall off, and depending on how far it is, like we're saying, it's really high up. He might not get up from that. When I think Winter Soldier is probably more reactive with his arm to possibly catch himself if he was to fall off this thing. So, man, this is another close one. What do you think?
I think it goes to Judge Dredd. I think this is where
'cause I'm leaning towards like the midway right now.
Well, okay. Well, here's
based
how.
on your comments, it might sway me.
High X. Boom.
I forgot about that.
Boom. I mean, because think about it. Okay, here heat seeking works wonders.
I forget there ain't nobody else on the roof with them two.
No,
see?
and then there.
That's why we talk.
Yes, heat seeking comes very well because it starts out as a shootout. To me, that's how every fight these guys is going to start off with them spraying each other.
The heat
and
seeking wouldn't be big in this.
Then when he takes cover, Dredd's going to realize, okay, there's not a lot of stuff that's on a street level, like down there,
Yeah.
that's going to get off a lot of heat, like an engine or a sign,
Yeah.
a billboard. Up here, they are probably the one thing that's basically going to stick out
Yeah.
heat signature wise. Now, say all he has to do is just high X once they start taking cover, and all he's got to do is just start blowing up everything on the roof. Bucky runs, all he's got to do is see Bucky heat seeker in one shot. Blow, and if it doesn't hit Bucky, guess what? Most likely, it's probably going to blow him off the roof.
That gives him a crazy advantage with when you said he's thinking. I forgot about that, and that automatically makes it go in his favor.
Yeah, and I want to say this: like when we first started doing these, and you go back to Captain America and Batman, we set out all of these battlegrounds, and we were like, we're going to stick with these because it's not so much about who's in them; it's just that these are the battlegrounds.
Yes.
I mean, they're your typical battlegrounds for most comic books. So, there's no giving an advantage, but that's the thing, it might give a character advantage.
It might. Just
so, but yes, with high X, heat seeking, even with Incinerary, where he can just burn stuff to throw Bucky off balance. I mean, I think Judge Dredd would win on a rooftop.
I believe he would as well.
All right. Man, it seems like the city streets was the tough one.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we move to below the city into the sewers. 100 foot apart. I'm going to tell you right now, I think this is almost just like the alley. It's just with a roof. No cover, no nothing. It's a big shootout. To me, I think this is where it's a draw.
Yeah, because unlike the alley, it's like the alley, but it's more spread out, like you said.
Well, it's not spread out. There's no cover in a sewer. You've got your sidewalks, your shit water, piss water. And it's 100 foot between them. Sure, they could jump backwards, but they're going to start shooting each other, which they're automatically going to start damaging each other.
I believe this one, he will have better stealth under the sewer. So he would be able to hide better and get more shots on Dredd. But then again, you're in a sewer, and he has like the freaking heat vision and all that stuff, so he would be coming after him. So it kind of equals out, and then it turns into the same element. I think this is the closest thing to a draw we'll have, but I think technically still, I think Dredd edges him out in a sewer.
Why?
Because it's just like it's more condensed. Well, it depends on what kind of sewer we're talking about. When we talk sewers, I always forget like the layout. Are we talking like a long sewer system, or were they in a?
Well, they're in the sewers, and it's just a long stretch of sewer, nothing between them. And then the sewers, you got basically on a sewer, you have two basically catwalks.
I'm just thinking like a turtle sewer that's really, really long.
Well, yeah, they're long. Well, it's 100 foot.
Yeah.
And then, sure, eventually there would be tunnels and whatnot, but they're standing 100 foot
so I
from each
believe
other.
the longer the tunnel.
Well, I mean, there's side
the more
sewers.
draw
Yes.
it becomes, because you would think Bucky would have the advantage, but there's so much stuff to hide behind. He can hide there and put his heal up a little bit. Plus, he would close the gap, and once he closed the gap, he would win more. I think you're right. I think I'm going to pick a draw.
I think it's a draw because it's a shootout. They just start unloading on each other, and even if you run, you're still taking damage.
So you think draw because shootout? I'm thinking draw because there's so many places to hide. It would be more conservative on each other.
Well, even to me,
even though Dredd is going straight for him, he would know he can't just take bullet after bullet.
Well, see, even if you go by what you said to me, Judge Dredd has the higher durability.
He does.
So to me, he would last longer going by what you think, and I would think in that way Judge Dredd would win.
Yeah,
because he's physically superior. Like I said, I mean,
I'm just thinking. I think his durability is higher, but I think in the dark sewer he would take more hits than he would on top ground.
Well, we got to think a dark sewer. Judge Dredd has night vision.
He does have night vision. I forgot about.
But that's what I'm thinking. It's just a shootout, okay? And just say 20, 30 feet behind them, the sewer. There's turns. Even if they're backing up to get to those, they're still firing at each other.
So So looking at it my way.
I mean, they're more likely to shoot each other and then run and bleed out before.
And kind of going back and forth, like you said, his durability would play just a factor as it did the other fights. That kind of sways me more of a 6-4. I'm going to say Dredd wins now, based off you pulling up my durability thing that I'm saying, and it makes sense that if his durability is higher and he slowly is patrolling, coming towards. Man, a lot of these fights, it's just like, how long can I fight before he gets here?
Yeah.
Type atmosphere.
Like I said, to me, it's a shootout. They start out, they start unloading on each other. And even though Dredd's got the higher durability, I mean, okay, if I pump 30 rounds into Judge Dredd, it's probably going to kill him.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's just he's pumping them back.
Yeah, and he's pumping them back.
Or whatever.
I mean, even if with Bucky, okay, just say they're shooting at each other, Dredd can easily just go before he falls. And Bucky's using that arm, he can be like, okay, high X, heat seeking, and then, finish him off. I mean, that's where it's a draw here. I don't think any of them would be able to run for cover or anything fast enough here.
One thing we don't bring up, because I know it says it on the things we research, but I've never seen him actually do this in a comic, detaching his arm.
It
could really come into factor inside of a dark place like that, where he's heat-seeking Bucky and not the arm. But
you say that, and then if you do that, if you go back to the city street and he detaches the arm, I guess the thing is,
it's a two-way street.
Does Bucky would have to see you to know what he's going to do with the arm?
Yeah.
So to me, I mean that
I don't know if he would do that. It is smart and it's not smart, because what if he decides to see that arm and he jumps over and he gets on you and you don't have your arm?
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna wreck you really fast.
I agree.
So he would not do that, but if he did do it, he could possibly take a wild shot.
It would be a dumb thing to do against a guy with the same type of weaponry that you're carrying.
And at the moment he would realize this, it might be too late.
So here you're still saying Dredd.
I'm gonna say Dredd.
I'm saying it's a draw.
Yeah. So draw and Dredd. I thought maybe draw, but then based on the comments I said, we talked it over, I feel like it's another one of those most of the time Dredd.
All right, now here is a very interesting one. The jungle.
Man, my take in the jungle, which we go over everything we said about distance, a shootout, an environment. Here is where I think Dredd, maybe I'm wrong, but I believe Dredd has the disadvantage in the jungle.
I do too.
He is a city cop, and that's all he does every day. He goes to the city blocks, cover all this. This is a totally different atmosphere out here. It's a jungle. There's a lot of different things going on, smells, noises, sands. He probably walks with a heavier step than Winter Soldier does. I think he would have a more difficult time going around here. I think that this is where Winter Soldier wins in my pick.
I do too. Because
over the environment alone, that he's been through jungles and training, and Dredd really don't go.
He's been in the wasteland, sure, but it's nothing like this.
Nothing like the jungle.
And to me, this is where the detaching arm could really come into play, because where Bucky is being a master assassin and spy is probably far more scared at hiding than Dredd is, and all he's got to do is be able to hide and see him, and send that arm after him. And therefore, that EMP does come into effect.
Yeah.
Which, even if it grabbed him, the electric shock it delivers, it would take out Dredd because his suit is insulated against electrical attacks. But I do think this is where Bucky would have the advantage, especially with a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
Because, okay, say, boom, it's a brand new fight. He's going to try to shoot him in the head. Boom, it's going to ricochet. Then he's going to realize, all right, I'm going to aim below.
Yeah.
And there's where your neck, your chin, I mean, it's a distinct advantage from him. It's not set up that way.
Yeah.
It's just one of the battleground that's laid out. And I do think Winter Soldier does, hands down, win the jungle. Even with Dredd, because here's the thing. Like I said, it's a shootout, and these guys are going to run for cover. They will.
Yep.
But even if you're in the cover in the jungle and you're Dredd, which he's used to the wastelands, but not a real thick, tropical, African jungle, a South American jungle, he's not used to the terrain. And Bucky is.
Yeah.
So, and I think even if he was used high X or heat seeking, I still think Bucky has the advantage here, because for one, heat seeking, he's got to lock onto his source.
Yes.
Also, for all he knows, it might shoot at an animal.
It could.
And the high X isn't really going to help you.
I believe he's at a disadvantage all the way around.
Incinerate it, you could start burning the place down. It's still not going to help him.
Nope.
I mean, I think he is a very big disadvantage, even if he was ride your lovable lawmaker around.
Lawmaker can't ride in the jungle.
All right, now your typical standard battle, open area, 100 foot apart. Winter Soldier, Judge Dredd, who wins?
This will just like all the previous things, especially in an open area, it's Dredd.
You think?
I think in an open area, there's less cover probably. It sounds.
Yes, it's just
And
completely
that's what
open.
gives him any kind of advantage against Dredd is he can hide more and shoot more. But now he can't hide, so he's going to be getting shot at with really powerful blast, and I think it ends very miserable for Winter Soldier.
Well, to me,
Might be wrong, but I just feel like with nothing to hide behind,
it seems like you always forget that arm he can use to block bullets.
he does. But he's got so many different shots. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, to me, like, he could take it and he could bend down and block, and he could set his machine gun
yeah,
in the bend of his arm and still use it as a shield and fire.
yeah.
Because being an expert marksman, he's still gonna be able to aim, no scope it.
You know,
But he's still being shot at.
yeah.
I think that's the only distinct advantage I could see Winter Soldier having, but I don't think it's enough.
I think having the arm is one of the biggest things that he has to give him any type of chance against Judge Dredd.
And to me, I think it's a draw here.
You think?
It's a shootout.
It is. I just feel without no cover, even though he's got his arm for cover.
I mean, to me, okay. Winter Soldier's wearing some body armor. He's got Kevlar and stuff. And sure, there's Dredd, but I mean, after so many damage, okay, because here's the thing. They start shooting, Dredd's going to eventually have to switch.
Yeah.
In an open area, Bucky is quick enough to dodge bullets. He's going to be able to react at every shot. So, boom, heat-seeking bullet. I mean, to me, that's the only advantage Dredd has, is heat-seeking, and I take that back. That to me, that's a deciding factor in open area.
Yeah, he don't have nothing to hide
He has
behind.
nothing to hide behind. I mean, he can run as far as he wants.
And eventually he's going to start taking those, and then he's going to have to switch from that, and he's going to have to roll in, and once he gets in, his arm is the only advantage he has against Dredd, who's a lot more tougher than him, and he has other weapons for close combat just like he does.
Yeah, to me, that
It
heat
hits
seeker,
harder.
the heat seeker is a big
The Heat
thing in
Seeker
open
is
area.
70% of that fight probably ends with the Heat Seeker before they even get to that.
I mean, they start fighting, just say they start running,
You see him.
trying to get away from bullets, and then that's all Dredd's got to do is just stay ahead of the shots, heat seeker, shoot.
So we're going to Dredd.
Yeah, I'm Dredd. I like I said, with the Lawgiver has so many abilities.
Just remember,
Yes.
we don't have the motorcycle.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm not bringing the motorcycle. I feel with it. It would be way.
So to go over there, we both agree in the city streets and in the city rooftop, Dredd clearly wins. On the city alleyway, we were torn. I said Winter Soldier, and you said Dredd. In the sewers, I said it was a draw. You still went with Dredd. And then we both agreed in a jungle, it's clearly Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
So
that is the only, out of all of them, the only, I think if you fought 10 times scenario, that is the only one where I think somebody wins 10 times, and that is Winter Soldier.
it's a clear
In the
victory
jungle,
for
I don't
him.
think Dredd could ever beat him.
So by your stat card, you have.
And the open, I don't think that he can ever beat Dredd with a heat seeking.
So out of
So
these
there's
6
two.
times, you say that Dredd wins 5 out of 6. I
Yeah.
say Dredd wins 3 out of 6. Winter Soldier wins 2 out of 6.
Yeah.
And then there's a draw.
A
So
draw.
clearly, based on that, Judge Dredd would be the winner of this crossover collision.
I think he would be.
Overall, it does seem like that. The Lawgiver,
It's too powerful.
if there was more of a way that Bucky could get in more close and be effective enough to get in close with the EMP, I think that really would help
He's
him.
able to range the EMT at Dredd, but he's not.
Yeah, it's a big pulse.
If he had a shot that did that, completely different outcome.
I completely agree because, like I said, then your Lawgiver surely has to be stuck on, and you know that would also probably take out everything in his helmet too.
Yeah, it would
So,
wreck him.
Yeah, but it's a fact of getting close
Yeah.
enough to him. So even though these are the battlegrounds that we do, I'm just going to throw this out there. In a hand-to-hand fight, who do you think would win? Boot knife, combat knife, they're fighting each
I
other.
think in a hand-to-hand fight, I think Winter Soldier would win because his ability with that knife is insane, and he could stab Judge Dredd a lot, but Judge Dredd's stronger than him. But when you're losing blood, you're going to be more fatigued. So I think if he can't finish him early before he gets all these wounds with the knife, but then again he has the day stick, and if he hits Nightwing or hits Winter Soldier with that, it will rock his world because that.
But like I said, he's taking shots from Spider-Man.
Yes, he took his shots from Spider-Man. So I still think I still think Winter Soldier wins in a hand-to-hand fight.
I do, and Fisticuffs, I think he's.
It becomes strength versus agility, bladed weapon versus blunt weapons, which he does have a knife too.
Yeah, he's got a boot.
I think he's going to hit him with a day stick because if he hits you in the head with that, he's going to crack his skull open.
I agree, but I do think.
But I think it's
hand to hand.
I think he gets stabbed too much.
Oh, would you think that hand to hand is one thing we should add to this?
Yes.
So at the very end, hand to hand.
I like hand-to-hand because a lot of these they're trained in martial arts anyway, so we can bring all that up.
So, well, I think in this one it's different. Like, if you're going Nightwing and Batman, it might not matter. But with these guys, I think it kind of would. So let's question mark the hand-to-hand. So Judge Dredd seems to be the clear winner with you and half of the victories with a draw for Judge Dredd. So, like I said, if you need an understanding of these characters based on what we're going, go check out Behind the Mask. But that's been it for this episode of Judge Dredd versus Winter Soldier, all crossover collision. I'm JVD.
I'm Evan the Great.
Keep reading, guys.